Hey guys, Shift 838 here. I wanted to take a moment to show you my new OoeyGUI MESS version 4.0 I'm getting ready to release for all the TI and Geneve community to be able to use on their PC, whether it be a Windows PC, Linux, a Raspberry Pi, or a Mac. So this way you can launch MAME easily and save your configurations. You don't have to worry about command line anymore. Or creating your batch files yourself. This does it all on the fly. With this new version, you can even install MAME on the fly. So it really works well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and do that. Before, I've already pre-staged a blank USB thumb drive. It's a little slower write speed, but it's going to get the job done, so it looks like a complete fresh install. I've already copied down the actual beta distribution that my beta testers are using right now for Windows, and we'll expand that and go through the process. So here it comes. So let's extract this thing. So we're going to extract it into the root of D. It's going to create an OoeyGUI folder. There it is, which houses all the binaries, DLLs, everything. So let's launch it. And as you see, you're going to see that it looks very similar to version 3. If you're used to version 3, there are some differences. I've made some changes, like the MAME install tab. Under the configuration tab, you now have a UI mode key, or OSD menu key, whatever you want to call it. It brings up the MAME menu. It throws MAME within partial keyboard emulation or full keyboard emulation. So under MAME install, this is where we're going to install MAME. It works really well. We're actually going to download from the FTP site, so you require internet connection. So let's go ahead and select the root of D, since that's my thumb drive. I'm going to install it too. It will create the MAME 0225 folder, as that's what it's going to pull currently. Install, if you say yes here, that MAME's already installed in the target directory, it's going to balk at you. Don't want you to do that. There's the balk message. It tells you to choose another directory, or you have to configure it manually. So it's not there. We select no. And if you accidentally select no, it's going to write over your existing MAME configuration. So right now it's downloading MAME. It'll then expand it, and then it will go through, download cartridges, ROMs, set up disk folders, download disk, certain disk files, set up HSGPL. It does a lot of all the configuration that would be required for you to do for MAME. It does for you. So it creates your default MAME configuration. It's even going to modify it so it can scan not only the ROMs folder, but also the carts folder. So now it's done. Now it's installed. The other thing this does also, after it installed, it creates a desktop shortcut for you. And it also updates your OoeyGUI configuration, with the exception of the TI image tool, because not everyone uses that. If you want to update that, you'll have to update it for the TI image tool if it's installed, and then click the Save This button. But as you see, it's all updated. So the System Select tab, this is where you configure your systems, your PEB slots, all that stuff. This is where you save your favorites. If you save a fave 1, it'll automatically load every time. You can save anything you want, but fave 1 through 12 is hotkeys. This particular tab is all your cartridge images, hard disk images, disk images. Even has the IDE there. This is your hard disk utilities page. This is where you create your images for MFM, for HFDC, or IDE cards. You can also convert older HD format, CHD formats, into a newer supported version of MAME. Tools just launches TI image tool if it's installed. That's where you gotta tell it where you've saved the TI image tool, and then you, like I said, save with the disk icon. I've already gone through the MAME install. Of course, about is about. So let's go configure a basic system. So we'll select the 994A US. As you can see, we'll select 32K for slot 2. Now, serial bridge doesn't enable unless you have an RS-232 card also. So you got to be able to do that. The enable printer file doesn't enable unless you have an RS-232 card, both in slot 3. So you pick that. Now you've got serial bridge, you've got enable print file. The enable print file actually will go to a printer output directory, print output directory within your OoeyGUI folder hierarchy. So let's select the Myarc hard floppy disk controller. Let's go to device images. Well, first we'll look at these other slots. You got all these other cards you can actually choose from. The only slot you can mount an IDE card is in slot 7. That is by design, by my design, not MAME. So the cartridge, you got single, multi, or graham cracker. We're going to select multi for this demo. So cartridge 1, we're going to go and select Extended Basic 2.5. The nifty thing about this cartridges, or this version, is it automatically detects between RPK and zip. So you can use either one. So now we go to Editor Assembler, pick that. Next we'll pick Adventure, one of my favorites. And next we'll pick Disk Manager 3. Now we'll go ahead and pick a disk image of Editor Assembler Part A. And these were pulled down within the script. This is what was installed. That HD file is a Geneve boot hard drive. Now under type, you got, depending on the disk controller, you got, this one has 5 1/4 double density, 3 1/2 double density, 5 1/4 double, or 80 track double density, and it's even got quad density in there. So it all depends on, that's going to be pre-filled out based on your disk controller you selected. So now let's go ahead and save it. We're going to save it as Fave1. Lowercase Fave1 will always load when OoeyGUI is loaded. That's like your ultimate favorite system, whatever you want to do. And like I said, you can name it anything you want. As soon as you name it, it's going to populate the drop-down with that. On boot up, it scans your favorites, and it will actually look at that. Now, one thing to note is OoeyGUI 3 favorites are not compatible with OoeyGUI 4 favorites. There is a few extra lines within the XML. So keep that in mind. And I launched it. As you see, it went to my other screen, so I had to pull it over, and there it is. So now let's check it, see if everything we configured worked. So I configured it automatically for scroll lock, which is typically the default. I know Macs don't have scroll lock, so there's other options there. So scroll lock, now I brought up my tab menu, and now as you see, I can see things. Like this shows me that the HFDC has been mounted under dip switches, and I can set up various settings. I go to my file manager, you can see my Extended Basic 2.5, Editor Assembler, Adventure, and Disk Manager 3 cartridge have all been mounted. If I had a serial bridge, it would be either here at serial 1 or serial 2, depending on how I configured it. Output to a parallel file, to a print file, there it is for parallel. If I did it, I didn't do it. There's my Editor Assembler Part A disk image that I mounted. Now let's look at the slot devices. Are they there? There's my GROM port, my multi-GROM port, the PEB, of course, the 32K memory, the TI RS-232 card, the HFDC mounted in slot 8 with 4 5.25 double density drives. Then, of course, the twin joystick. It's all ready to go. Now, note, I did not repress my scroll lock to disable, and I did this on purpose so y'all can see what happens. So we're cycling through. First one showed Extended Basic, then Editor Assembler. Press 3 again to review module library. And we get to see, and that's how we go through. So selecting going in Disk Manager. Let's get a catalog of the disk image. Select 1, of course, because that's where it's at. and you get to see that the disk image works. It sees it just like it's supposed to. Now we want to quit. Let's go on Extended Basic. This is where it's going to show you that, oh, I forgot to press the scroll lock key to disable that menu. So let's go ahead and do a call cat. Well, up, just went into pause because I pressed P for, Alt P for quote, because I did not disable. So that's one of the big things. You remember P means pause for MAME if you're within the OSD menu and you haven't disabled. And there it is. Now let's check the size. Hey, the memory's there. Everything's good. Everything we selected mounted. Quit. That's it. So thanks for watching, guys. I do appreciate it. If you have any comments, please leave them. You can actually visit my site. I'll leave links to my site and my store. If you do end up downloading this and using it later, and if you find an issue on my site, there's an actual form you can fill out with attachments that will actually send me a ticket telling me what's the problem. Thanks again. Y'all have a good day.